Daniel Phillips, been back in Bermuda for a little while now. Just recently played in a junior tennis tournament at the W.E.R. Gill Tennis Stadium.
Yes.
But you played 2 ages up from what you are, which is 12 years old. You played in the under 14s and the under 16s. What are some of the things that you were doing? Obviously, you're playing people older than you, a little more advanced, if I could say that, a little stronger than you. How did you think you fared in both the under 14 and under 16, knowing that you won the under 14?
Well, during the under 14s, I thought the first couple matches would be a little bit easier, but then as the more matches I won, the harder it got. But basically, in the semifinals and finals, I was just spinning the ball back to get the guy near the fence so I can come up to the net and attack or volley it away.
Right.
And under 16s, it was really hard sometimes because the guys are obviously older, stronger, wiser than me. But I did work my way through it, and somehow I got to the finals. But it did work through in the end.
Now, looking at the two finals, obviously with the 14s, in Bermuda there's not that much of a gap. I mean, you've been playing over in Spain and over in Europe for quite some time, so
yes.
You're a little more advanced. So even though some of those 14s would be a little stronger, you're a lot wiser than they are and able to. But when you come to the 16s, it becomes a little tougher. Now, you pretty much breezed your way through the Bermuda 16s, but had a little trouble with obviously another experienced player in the 16s from the UK because he's on the ITF Junior Tour. So what do you take from that under 16 match?
I learned that if you win, you don't learn a lesson, but if you do, you do. And I learned that this guy's obviously older and stronger, but I need to practice my strategies and just like what I have to do to get the point. Right. Yeah.
Talk us through the experiences you've had over at the Rafael Nadal Academy.
Well, the experiences is not like Bermuda. You cannot play 2 years older than your group because the people are obviously a lot more better than Bermuda, some players. But I learned that sometimes in the 12s, I would not even make it to the third round because these guys are, like, they know what they're doing. They know they've been doing this. So, but I did do really good out there, I feel. Yeah.
What other than the language, because obviously you have the language down now somewhat. What are the challenges you find as a 12-year-old being in a different place?
I get homesick some days where I feel tired some days where I have to wake up in the morning to go to breakfast, make my own breakfast and come back. And then I have to clean my room. Then I have to get myself organized and on time for when I have to go to school and do my homework by myself. So like there are some good things and some bad things. Some of the good things is making me more of a man. Like I'm learning all these life experiences and I'm just doing it myself, which is the better thing.
As a 12-year-old, how much do you love tennis?
I feel I'm one of the best lovers in the sport for my age. I really love the sport from young, but there are some days where you just don't want to get out of bed, and sometimes I fall into that trap and don't do it, but I feel I really love the sport and I want to go through more.
Who are some of the people you've leaned on over the years, especially being away from Bermuda, to get that support, to motivate you yet again?
Do you mean in Spain?
In Spain, in Bermuda, who are
Uncle
some
Sam, of course, like the main supporter, my mom, the community in Bermuda, basically the community, and the island, Uncle Sam, my mom, and there was one player out there that like treated me like I was his family and stuff, but basically, like his name, he was like from Bulgaria and stuff. He'll pay for my lunches, my dinners sometimes. Yeah, he'll help me string a racket sometimes. He'll go out with me on Sundays and Saturdays to hit with me. It was really good.
What's next for you?
Next, so once I finish here, August 11th, I leave to go play a tournament in England. Then I'll go in Spain, train, and then I might come back for a tournament in Bermuda.
In the October?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you feel being away from Bermuda helps you focus more? You don't have the distraction of friends.
Yeah, it focuses me. I just put friends out of the picture. I'm there to win, to be the best that I can be. And like some of those friends I'll be playing against in the tournament, and I cannot take it easy on them.
Okay. Can you? I need you to do something for me. Can you say, "I love tennis" in Spanish?
Te amo tenis en español. I love tennis in Spanish.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Sam. You spent a lot of time with a lot of juniors, but a special one in Daniel, and you saw a star, if I could say that, right from the start. He had the work ethic, he had the drive and the passion. But what are some of the other attributes you saw in him that helped to want you to push him to where he's at right now?
Well, it was his energy level kind of took care of that in and of itself. We made a YouTube video when he was about 6 years old. And if you watch that video, you see him skateboarding, you see him skipping, you see him running, you see he would run up the fence, climb the tree, fall on his back of his neck. You know, just one of those wonderfully energetic Bermudian boys, like, you know what I mean? And just needed that energy to be directed and refined. And as time went on, you know, he was able to stick in there. He had his little cycle accidents like everybody else, like, you know what I mean? Come up, all bandaged up and whatnot like that. But he had a totally supportive family, his mom and dad. The amount of time that they put in with it was over and beyond what normal two parents would put in. And, you know, that was key in terms of having the faith in me to not just coach him, but also to guide him to the other coaches that were giving the things that I couldn't give him.
Now, he's over in Spain, he's playing high-level tennis for a 12-year-old. What are some of the things you were working on back here when he comes home for this period of time? Obviously, you want to keep him at that pace. It's very difficult to find players other than the senior men players to hit with him to ensure that that intensity, one, stays high, and the other thing is that he stays sharp.
Well, quite a combination. Ritual routine makes that possible. The disciplines that we maintain makes that possible. Him getting up, doing his runs, doing his core stretches, eating right. So he'll, you know, prepare his own food now, keeping his room tidy. And then when we hit, the kinds of things that we work on are the basics, because those never change. And so you can always sharpen the basics. And a lot of times, you know, in his development and his confidence, he would start to neglect doing some of the very basic things, like, and it's for all of them. I mean, the one thing that I focus on more than anything else is ready position. It's not hitting. It's ready position, because no matter when you hit, it's you being prepared for the next hit that comes. And so the quicker you get back to that, the quicker you're ready for whatever comes your way. And so, and then there are other basic things that we work on. We go through all the various strokes, the flat, the top, just the slices, the serve. He showed me his new serve, what he's got, and it works very well.
Was
you know.
it top spin?
It's
slice spin.
Well, he's reconstructed it a bit, where his momentum is coming more forward.
Right.
He's making a higher point of contact. He's able to kick it higher now. He's taller, stronger. Yeah, just watching the whole arsenal being developed, his tool set is just being sharpened. You know, I mean, he's doing things that he wasn't doing before. But at the same time, everything comes from center.
Right.
And so my job is always to center him, both on the court and off the court. And so it's very important.
Are you often amazed when he comes back and you get to hit with him to see how developed it is?
Not really, because I've been doing it for a long time, and I've got a lot more champions out there before Dan. I always, I having the confidence in myself back then when I was 11 and not necessarily getting that opportunity, or always strive toward those levels. And so when I see those levels, those are the levels that I prepared to get to. So it's not a surprise. That's what the level that we work on to get. So when I see that, I'm like, yes. Now the next thing that goes on top of that, like, you know what I mean? Because it's never ending.
Right.
It's just continuous learning and the continuous sharing of what we're learning.
He's 12. When can we see him possibly entering, say, like a Bermuda team, or because I think there's a 12 team. I didn't know you was going to be back.
Yes.
When can we see that in Bermuda?
When you look at the various levels of tennis development, because what you will be referring to is tennis representation on the international level for Bermuda, and there's a difference in that some make the choice to use tennis as a vehicle to get a scholarship into university. That's one level, and then when you have that person that chooses to cultivate their tennis to become a tennis professional, then that's a little bit different, because you're not just representing your country, but you're also going on to the global stage and representing yourself and your family and your coaches, And so, therefore, we keep those options wide open for the necessary support that he needs in his growth. He's been traveling internationally since he was 6 years old. That support came from the tennis community, and in particular grassroots. And so our loyalty is more with grassroots than it is for anything else, because as the pattern would normally go, the autonomy would shift to the governing body, and that's good for when they're going to university, but that's not necessarily the right thing for when they're going to become a professional, because as you know, with them being out at Rafa Nadal Tennis Academy and the various international tournaments that Dan plays in, are well above anything that the Bermuda government body would be, interacting in. And so there's a catch-22 there, where, looking at Daniel's development, we want to make sure that he's continuing on that higher level path, because it's going higher places. You know what I mean? Bermuda will stand to benefit from Daniel once he reaches where he reaches. And we don't really have a strong economic supporting here in Bermuda. They always kind of wait until that cultivation is finished, then they want to come on board and come in and get your player to do everything that they would like him to do in terms of representing on the global stage. We felt that he was a bit young to be put on the meat market, so to speak, that we would hold him back, just like how Mr. Williams did with Venus and Serena. No one could dictate to them what their children were going to be doing in terms of tournaments that they played in, and he had a specific reasoning as to why he chose to go the route that he did that was contrary to what was the conventional route. And as you could see, his results proved to be correct. He was what's the correct word? Administered into the Hall of Fame the other day of the NCAA. The ATA,
right?
National Black Body of Tennis, but not necessarily accepted by the entire body of tennis. And with Serena and Venus being what they are, it's no way that you can avoid coming to that fact. And so I'm saying that in order to come back to answer your question in reference to Daniel and representing Bermuda in the under 12s. would be the same reason why we haven't played in the under 14s and the under 16s. Those are the levels that he needs to reach forward to, and just playing my political cards right, keeping things real and maintaining the autonomy. Most importantly with Daniel, because we've got I should say I've got Gavin Manders and Javon Ritter that just came back from the Davis Cup and Island Games, and coaching them, from the perspective of maintaining my sounding board in their life to assist them on the levels that they're dealing with. And often we run into problems with the governing bodies that don't understand from a player development perspective, as much as they're responsible for the governing body administration aspect of tennis. There's a two clear different paths, because like I said, some are on the path to getting a scholarship at a university. That's one thing. Some are in it like Daniel to become a world-class professional. That's a whole different ball game. In terms of international representation, you see Dustin Brown and the challenges that he faced in his development. In terms of Jamaica not necessarily supporting him financially, and then him having to go to Germany because I think one of his parents was German and went there, and they gave him the financial support that he needed in order to go to top flight, because it becomes very, very expensive. And if we're not got Bermudians coming out and saying, well, here, Daniel, take this, because you need it, you know what I mean, then it becomes very difficult to engage and or commit in such a way that other opportunities that come up that will benefit him more, we close ourselves to. So no, we want to keep those opportunities open. And so we hold on to that autonomy, because we know and they know that Daniel is a special one. They know that now. You know what I mean? They've known that for a while. And you know what I mean? They play the cards the way they play the cards. And we're going to play them the way we're playing them, and the results show that probably from an historic perspective, he's probably the first 12-year-old that's ever made it to a 16 singles final. Not alone win the 14th. I think that's probably been done before. But to make it to the finals of a 16, no, not in the history. Somebody would have to show me that.
When you're talking with his coaches, because obviously you guys communicate on
Sure.
How long before he can possibly make that transition to tennis full time, be on the junior circuit, be a regular, in the sport?
Well, then we will be looking at 14. He needs, from a professional perspective, making that drive, he needs to be heading toward the pros at that time. He should be around 14, 15 years old, entering the Challenger, the lower end professional tournaments, in which you can gain points by winning a tournament in somewhere like Egypt or somewhere off the trail, where the competition is not as heavy, but it's still heavy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you're looking to gain points in order to take you to that next level. So it's all strategic in terms of where you choose to play. That's why we've taken Daniel the places that we've taken him, in order to prepare him for that future and what's coming. At 14, he'll play in the Road to Wimbledon, which is a tournament series in England, in which the children get an opportunity to actually play at Wimbledon. And Dan's mom being from England, he has that right. So we keep those options. Another reason why we keep the options open, because if England says, we like to take Daniel, and they come up with some change, big change, and say you come over here, then I'm sure any Bermudian is not going to argue with the fact of getting in Daniel's way of his development for the Bermuda's personal gain, of which they're not going to give him the necessary support that he could grow to become potentially that top player in the world, which is which is what he's aiming for.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Audio Jungle. Audio